Good evening, my fellow friends YouTubers. This is Kurt. Welcome back to the Kurt's Place channel here on YouTube. Well, guys, now in this video, we're actually going to go back in time to 1997. In 1997, I basically spent an entire day walking around Busch Gardens with a Sony 8mm video camera, making videos of the entire Busch Gardens, all the rides and everything, roller coasters and things too, and that you're going to see in this video. Now, keep in mind that back in the day, in 1997, a Sony 8mm videotape, that was considered cutting edge. The camera that I actually used to shoot this video actually cost almost $400, which was a lot of money back in the day. And something very interesting about the camera too was because the camera battery technology wasn't what it is today, I actually had a battery in the camera when I ran around the park. Then I had another battery in the car actually charging up. I had an actual charging pack in the car charging up the other battery while I walked around the park. So when the one battery ran out, I just went out to the car and got the other battery pack, put it in the camera, went back in and shot some more videos. So it took a full day to shoot all this video. But in this video, you're going to see some very, very neat things. You're going to see what Dragonfire looked like back in 1997. You're going to see the actual operation of it. You're going to get a chance to see how beautiful the trains were. And just what a wonderful roller coaster that was. That still remains, still to this day, that roller coaster honestly has one of my favorite drops of all time, which was a corkscrew drop. It's still one of my favorite drops of all time on any of the roller coasters I've been on. Now, the second roller coaster we're going to have in this video is going to be the Big Bad Wolf. Now, you're going to get a chance to see what the Big Bad Wolf Village and everything looked like that the train actually went through. You're also going to get a chance to see that legendary drop that went out over the Rhine River, and you're also going to get a chance to see the Big Bad Wolf waterfalls, which is one of those things that I haven't seen too many videos, but I actually shot them in this video. Now, the third coaster we're going to cover is going to be Alpengeist. Now, in 1997, I believe that was the first year that Alpengeist actually opened. It was my first ever Bowling or Mad suspended roller coaster, and it still remains one of my favorite Bowling or Mad suspended roller coasters to this day. Absolutely amazing ride. Alpengeist was one for the books without a doubt. And the final roller coaster we're going to have is going to be the Loch Ness Monster. Now, you're going to see a lot of footage of the Loch Ness Monster. Now, one of the questions people have asked me is, did the Loch Ness Monster ever, did the roller coasters ever go through the loops at the same time? They absolutely did. That was one of the things that was known as a double looper. That was considered the holy grail on the Loch Ness Monster. Now, fortunately, I was able to experience several double loopers on the Loch Ness Monster, and it was unbelievably to be on the ride when it actually did that. But it was even more impressive if you got a chance to actually see them going through the loops, and you'll actually get a chance to see the Loch Ness Monster doing what it did best, which is the double loopers that you're going to see in this video. Now, keep in mind that double loopers and things only happen basically on Saturdays when the park ran 3 trains on the Loch Ness Monster. Back in the day in 97, Busch Gardens only had 4 roller coasters. That was all they had, and that was one of the things that made it so great. Those 4 roller coasters back in the day were absolutely phenomenal roller coasters that I love. And the Loch Ness Monster, even today, still remains one of my favorite roller coasters I've ever ridden. I haven't been back to Busch Gardens since 97, but you're going to see in this video, this is like a time capsule going back to 97. You're going to get a chance to enjoy in this video. Now, I also want to mention, too, I do have other videos of Busch Gardens as well on my channel. You can look if you want to check those out. If you go up to just look on my search window, look for Busch Gardens videos, you can actually check those out on my channel as well. I also want to mention, by the way, too, don't forget to click that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, if you have any comments, leave them in the comments section down below. What was Busch Gardens like when you went to Busch Gardens? And also, guys, I want to mention, too, I do have the Kurt's Place channel online store now is available as well. There's a link to that in the video description down below. You can get things such as hats, mugs, and keychains. All right, guys, I want to thank you again for tuning into the Kurt's Place channel here and checking out my were Busch Gardens roller coasters back in 1997. As always, guys, thanks again for watching. Let's go ahead and step back in time to 1997 and check out Busch Gardens Williamsburg. And as always, thanks again for watching. Enjoy the video. Okay, the first coaster we're going to talk about in this video is going to be the Dragonfire at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia. Now, the one thing to keep in mind about the Dragonfire, Dragonfire at the time it was built was considered a very, very cutting-edge roller coaster at the time it was made. One of the signature features that Dragonfire had that I haven't experienced on any of the roller coasters since, it had an element called a corkscrew drop, where the roller coaster would actually go down the lift hill, right off the lift, flip over, turn sideways, and literally go down to the ground. That was an extremely intense element to experience on Dragonfire. Now, one of the things that also made Dragonfire unique was the paint job that it had on it was absolutely amazing. The paint job on that roller coaster was absolutely phenomenal. When you rode on it, you could really see all the work and everything that went into the paint job. Now, the one thing that Dragonfire was known for, unfortunately, and I can tell you riding it in 1997, it was a headbanger. Dragonfire, because of the way the track and everything was constructed, never really felt like everything fit together right as far as the inversions and things goes. It seemed like when you would go from one element to another, it would be fairly herky-jerky. When I rode Dragonfire, I always rode it with my hands on the head on the restraints like this to keep my head from banging side to side. Now, one of the things that Dragonfire did have that was also very unique, in addition to the corkscrew drop element, it also had a bat wing element on the back of the ride too as well. It was also very unique for that ride when it came out. And also, the thing to keep in mind is the trains on Dragonfire 2. At the time when I saw those trains, they were the most amazing trains I had ever seen on a roller coaster. The paint job was absolutely phenomenal, and the wheels were the custom cut wheels that they had on the train really made it stand out as one of the coasters that I really enjoyed. And honestly, even to this day, I still consider Dragonfire to probably have one of the best inversions that I've ever experienced on a roller coaster to date. Now, keep in mind, back when this video was shot in 1997, I was 27 years old, and this was one of the first what were considered like the new modern roller coasters that I actually got a chance to ride, made by Aerodynamics. And I gotta tell you, Dragonfire is one ride that I really miss. I honestly wish that they could have made the ride work, but also after talking to maintenance people and things that worked on the ride, they said another problem that Dragonfire had, in addition to being fairly rough, the trains and things on the ride were under extreme stress because of all the elements and things, and also the fact that some of the G's and things on the ride were actually a little bit more than the roller coaster and things could actually handle. So they had a lot of maintenance issues on Dragonfire as well, and that was evident when I rode it. You could see on Dragonfire that they had to do a number of changes to try to reprofile the track and everything. But unfortunately, it was never able to keep Dragonfire open as a great roller coaster. I just thought I wanted to give you a chance to tell you a little bit about the Dragonfire. And we're going to go and check out some clips now. You're going to be able to see Dragonfire up and close. Let's begin.
This is the Dragonfire. This is another one of my favorites. Wild, crazy, and exhilarating. This first idea I'll take it for a minute. So this ride, it looks over the train. If the train's coming, you look right over it. And that's what makes it really exciting. Now watch this. Notice the spiraling action. Over 100 feet in the air. I'm sorry, it looks like we're going to fall out. So we come to 0 G, huh? Going to make it even more exciting. And then I'll follow my dad's loop. And we're going to do twice on that one. And then again.
Okay, the next ride we're going to talk about is the Big Bad Wolf. Now, keep in mind, the Big Bad Wolf was at Busch Gardens for many years, and that was always one of my top favorite roller coasters at Busch Gardens. I always enjoyed. The Big Bad Wolf was another one of the first roller coasters I rode of the swinging variety, where the cars actually swung out to the left and right. Now, one of the things that made the Big Bad Wolf unique is there were actually two sections to the Big Bad Wolf. There was a beginning section where we would go up a lift hill, and then you would actually go down through the village. Now, one of the things that was unique about the Big Bad Wolf is they had actually built a village and everything around the first part of the ride, where you actually felt like you were flying through the village, like a flying wolf going through the village. That was one of the things that was very unique. Even though the ride wasn't going as fast as you thought it was, because you were so in close proximity to the buildings and everything swinging, it actually felt a lot faster than it was. And that was one of the things that really made the Big Bad Wolf really, really cool, is the fact you felt like you were going to fly out and hit one of the buildings. Now, the second thing that made the Big Bad Wolf pretty unique was, at the end of the ride, there was a second lift hill, and that's the famous lift hill that took you up to the top and dropped you down over the Rhine River. That was one of the absolutely amazing drops in Busch Gardens. That's still, to this day, is still one of my favorite drops on any roller coaster, was dropping down over the Rhine River and the Big Bad Wolf. Now, the one thing about the Big Bad Wolf was you had to be prepared to wait in a long line. The Big Bad Wolf on a Saturday night, like when I would go, you would wait anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours, just depending how many people there were. That was the one thing about the Big Bad Wolf. It wasn't always a long line, but a lot of times it would be. And at night, it was probably one of the best rides I ever ride at night, because a lot of times they had it very, very dark when you were in the back part of the park. Riding the Big Bad Wolf at night with the stars and everything, that was a very, very unique experience, and it's one I haven't forgotten. I am sad to see that the Big Bad is no more now at Busch Gardens, but I have great memories of it. And I think in this video you'll get a chance to see what really made the Big Bad Wolf the special coaster that it was. I also hope that if any of y'all have been on the Big Bad Wolf and have memories of your own, go ahead and leave this in the comment section as well. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the Big Bad Wolf.
Now this is another one of my favorites. This is a Big Bad Wolf. It's been here for a while, but still an awesome ride. They're free to swing with grades, almost 90 degrees. Good for the kids. You want something slow, it's good. Especially get a spectacular view of things such as the Big Bad Wolf waterfall. This is the only way to see that, really. And also you get a good shot of the Big Bad Wolf first drop. Look at that thing swing. Alright, continuing on the Rhine River Cruise. My battery ran out yesterday, but got new ones today.
Around the travel from Marco Polo. You can dine in the plaza, you can play in a fair and live entertainment. You can find something in the empty section of the park for every member of your family. And to your right is the Big Bad Wolf. It is the October Fest.
This is another shot of the Red Wolf, Big Bad Wolf waterfall. Cascades are right down there. Climax is in the Rhine. And directly above it, the Big Bad Wolf. Let's see that in just a second. Notice how the cars swing. They're not stable like on Alpengeist. These cars actually swing. We'll see it as soon as it comes. Notice how the cars swing. Free to swing. Just went across the river, now they're coming up. Beautiful. beautiful, isn't it? Mm-hmm. In the distance is the railroad trestle. If I time it just right, you might be able to see a train, but not for a few minutes. So I'll pause for a minute. In the meantime, I'll let you look at the big bad wolf. This is its main drop. It goes down right above the line. Swinging out. So the Rhine River Cruise goes right underneath this bridge. This is that walk bridge you saw. I was showing you earlier. This is the walk bridge. Next two sections of the bridge. Now, if the timing's just right, it looks as if you're going to crash right into the cruise. You'll see how close it comes. Whoa. See, it looks like you're going to bang right into it. But, you know, you're pretty safe.
Okay, the next coaster we're going to have in the video is going to be the Alpengeist. Now, at the time, I believe in 1997, if I remember correctly, that was the year that Alpengeist opened. I may be off on it, but I think when I was there, that was the year that Alpengeist opened. Now, the thing I remember most of that Alpengeist was that was my first bowling or Mabillard coaster I got a chance to ride, and I'll tell you, that is an amazing ride. One of the things that was always that I loved about Alpengeist is that when the ride would, the first drop when it would come down, it was a sweeping drop. It actually was a sweeping drop that actually would take you almost down completely to the ground. Then you would come up and over, and it looked like there was, you were going to actually hit one of the ski lodges and things like that because it was themed around skiing. They even had snow and everything around there as well too. It looked like it actually had snow and everything. And what I remember about Alpengeist was I remember the sheer speed that it had going into those drops, which is pretty darn amazing. And the view from the top of Alpengeist was pretty amazing. Now, keep in mind, when Alpengeist was there, they didn't have all the other roller coasters, Apollo's Chariot, Griffin, and all those. None of those roller coasters were there. So when Alpengeist was there, Alpengeist basically stood kind of above all the other roller coasters, pretty much. It pretty much dominated the landscape when you rode on an Alpengeist, and also it was a wonderful ride to see from the sky ride as well. And also the one of the things I really liked about Alpengeist was I liked the fact that it was such a smooth ride. It was suspended so your feet were dangling, which I thought was absolutely amazing. Having your feet dangling, that was the first coaster like that I'd ridden where my feet were actually dangling. Now this was my first time riding a coaster like that, but also the fact that the thing I liked about it too was that it was a very smooth coaster, very fast and very smooth, and had wonderful inversions. And another thing too that was always very unique, when I rode Alpengeist back in the day, when the roller coaster there was a set of mid-trim brakes that would actually slow the coaster down. When I rode the coaster in '97, the trim brakes did very little. You hardly even knew they were even being used when I rode that roller coaster in '97. So when it went into the second portion of the ride through the corkscrews in the last part of the ride, '97, it basically went full speed through the second section of the ride. The trim brakes and things like that really didn't slow the train down much at all when I rode it. And that was one of the things I remember too, is just how intense those corkscrews, the inversions and things. If I remember correctly on Alpengeist, it's been a while now since I haven't been to the park since '97, but if I remember correctly, it had a heartline roll, and I think it had a corkscrew at the end, if I remember correctly. Well, I do remember how absolutely intense it was, and it did have a helix at the end, as I remember too. That was a very intense ride. Now, one of the things I loved, another thing about Alpengeist that was very unique is the cars and everything. They had skis and everything, so it looked like a ski lift. I remember seeing the skis and things on the car and seeing how they had what looked like snow and everything on all the buildings and everything. The theming on Alpengeist was absolutely amazing. It really, really stood out. And also the fact they made the lift hill look like a ski lift hill was one of the things that was really, really amazing about Alpengeist. Another thing, too, that was nice is Alpengeist had pretty high throughput capacity. So even when on a busy Saturday night, you got through the line pretty quickly at Alpengeist. It really wasn't that long a wait, and that was one of the things that I always really enjoyed about Alpengeist. So let's go ahead and take a look at Alpengeist and see what it was back in 1997. And also, if any of you have any other memories of Alpengeist, is the ride as fast today as it was back in '97? Go ahead and leave those in the comments section down below. Let's go ahead and check out Alpengeist.
Alright, PresidentElect Furnace, we have the Alpengeist roller coaster. This roller coaster is one of the tallest roller coasters in the world. It features a 170+ foot drop, several inversions, and a 102 foot vertical loop. Alpengeist is brand new and open for this year. As you look around, you can see some of the inversions that are featured on Alpengeist. We have one here, traditionally live. Here they go. Here they go, and down they go, down 170 foot drop. Falling into the vertical loop. It's a propel them way into the air. Going down into the vertical loop. Let's go shoot them up again. And they head back into the boomerang loops, which you cannot quite see. In the boomerang, and they're going around again. And they're coming down. The second part of the section of the coaster, which is slightly out of view. Two more vertical blocks. This is Alpengeist. This is the new one. This is the king of roller coasters. Just check out this fruit ball. This thing goes all the way down. Make you sick. Now, for those of you who think it might not get sick doing that, and it's not hard about it, think again. That has gotta hurt. Now, if you didn't see this, it pushed you around pretty good. 300. And there's a lot of tree cover here. upside down. It's 108, I think it's 108 feet.
Okay, we're now going to have our final roller coaster in this series. This time it's going to be the Loch Ness Monster, which was my favorite roller coaster at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg in 1997, and it honestly still is today. I still love the Loch Ness Monster. Now, the thing to keep in mind about the video that you're going to watch, one of the things people have asked me about is, did the Loch Ness Monsters ever go through the loops at the same time in sync? The answer is yes, they absolutely did. In 1997, that was known as a double looper. That was considered the holy grail of riding the Loch Ness Monster. Now, one of the things to keep in mind about double loopers is that they required us to get into the trains very quickly. From the time we got into the train and the time they dispatched, it was very, very short. You basically had to get into the train quickly and get your lap bars and everything, get your shoulder restraints and everything down and locked very quickly. Basically, the way it worked is when the roller coaster entered the lift hill, by the time it got to the top of the lift hill, they were ready to launch the next train. If you were ready and you saw the light to launch, they used to have a light in the corner that would light up. If you saw that light flash and that operator was able to dispatch that train when that light started flashing, you knew you were going to pretty much have a double looper. The problem is there's a lot of factors that went into getting double loopers. Did people get in and out of the train quickly enough? Did they stop the train in the right section and the station? At that time, the brakes and things, occasionally the train would overshoot the station. That might affect the timing as well. But if they did everything right, everybody got in the train quickly. Double loopers one of the things that really made the Loch Ness Monster stand out. Now, one of the things I was going to point out is that if you want to know what it was like to experience a double looper, if you were going through the top loop, the very first inversion, which is the high loop, when you actually went upside down and you looked down, you could actually see the train looping underneath you, which was absolutely amazing. When you went through the lower loop, the second loop, when you looped around over, you could actually see the train coming underneath you, going past you, and that was absolutely thrilling to experience. Now, the one thing about double loopers is in order to have a double looper, there's two things that needed to happen in the park. Number one, you had to get into the trains very quickly. You also had to have operators that could dispatch the trains quickly enough for the double looper to be set up. But the second thing was double loopers required the park to have three-train operation on the Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster was designed to run three trains, and in 1997 it ran three trains pretty frequently on a Saturday. That was pretty normal operations to have three trains running. The double looper is one of the things that I really enjoyed about the Loch Ness Monster. Now, something else somebody asked me too is, what was the cave like back in 1997? Well, back in 97, the cave basically had, at that time, I think they had turned off the fog machines, but at one point, when you went through the tunnel, through the cave, and you were spinning around, they actually had fog machines on the inside. So it looked like you were actually in the fog, like it was, if you were actually going into a foggy layer. Then they would actually have lights along the walls, and then at the end they would actually have the Loch Ness Monster head would actually growl at you, and you could hear it through a sound system inside the tunnel. That was pretty awesome. If I remember in '97, I think they still had that effect in place on the in the cave. Now, from what I understand, the reason they stopped doing the cave is because they had the water and everything they had for the fog was actually causing structural problems with the track inside the tunnel. It was causing it basically to rust and deteriorate inside the tunnel. And that's one of the reasons they had to turn off the fog and everything that used to be inside the tunnel. Now, something else I want you all to confirm too in the comment section. Another thing too about when '97, both lift hills and the Loch Ness Monster ran at full speed. now I see videos. I want to know, is Loch Ness Monster now on the first lift hill? Is that actually slowed down to half what it used to be in the original one when it ran in 97? From what I can see on the videos, it looks like it is a lot slower. And that's something I'd like to know. Did they really slow down the lift hill? Now, somebody else also told me now, too, that another reason why double loopers aren't going to be a possibility is not only did they slow down the lift hill on the first lift, but also they have a gate now that you have to get in and out of when you get in the station. So being able to dispatch the trains that quickly, it's just not possible anymore now with the setup that they have. And I'd like to know what y'all think in the questions and comments. Did you ever get a chance to experience double loopers? And the one thing I wanted to add in closing is one of the other things that was unique about the Loch Ness Monster that I really loved is I loved the queue line. They used to have things like the Loch Ness Monster tank where they're going to hold Loch Ness Monster. They used to have diving bells. They used to have Loch Ness Monster research quarters. Really, really cool things. Diving helmets. Really, really cool things. And they even had a submarine, actually, like a submersible in the front. Those are really cool things that they had in theming. I'd like to know if those are still there today, the theming that they had, because that was one of the things that was really cool. But keep in mind, at the time they did double loopers, Busch Gardens only had 4 roller coasters. You know, they had the Big Bad Wolf, they had Dragonfire, Alpengeist, and Loch Ness Monster, and that was it. So the ridership on the roller coasters tended to be a lot higher because there weren't as many. The fewer coasters meant you had more people riding each of the roller coasters, and that's one of the reasons why 3-train operation was a must on Saturdays. Typically, the line would be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, just depending how long the line was. And also, inside the queue house, they also had TV monitors and things, too, that would actually show you video clips of the Loch Ness Monster, roller coaster going in slow motion and stuff. And I always thought that was really cool, too. Now, what I wanted to point out to you in this video, keep in mind that all the video that you've seen here, and all the video of my Busch Gardens Williamsburg videos, was all shot with 8mm videotape, with 8mm high 8mm videotape. At that time was cutting edge. So the quality is not absolutely as perfect as it would be in high definition, but remember, back in the day, that was all they had. I got basically the best thing they had to make videos at that time, and that camera cost me almost $400. So I just wanted to let you know that the Loch Ness Monster still in my heart is still my favorite roller coaster of all time. Let's go ahead and check out some pictures of the Loch Ness Monster in action and also see some video of it actually doing what it did best, the double loopers.
We now left the we're heading from Rheinfeld, we're heading over to Rheinfeld. Just left Germany, we're heading to Scotland. This is the Loch Ness Monster. Over here we have the Rhine River Cruise. This is a lot of fun for the kids. And here we have the first drop of the Loch Ness Monster. First drop's 127 feet tall. There we go. And we're going around the lower loop. That's the lower loop. And at times they go in between one another. Here comes the upper one going down into the loop. Coming out of the loop. And underneath the tram right there. Across the tunnel, heading into the cave. Inside the cave, you spin around approximately 3 times. Feel like you're going at the speed of fright. Once you get through the cave, you enter the second lift, which is presently directly below. On any second lift, you head up to the second loop. You lift it up a short distance. And there they go. Let's see it.
That's what I miss screaming. You know?
This is one of the most unique things about Busch turns. When these two coasters loop together, better known as a double looper. One of my favorites. A closer look at that turn. I promised you a closer look.
That's right. Next time I see him walking.
Much closer, man. Now that doesn't excite you. I don't know what will.